Hi everyone, welcome to the very first episode of the Safe Table podcast. I am your host Tania and I am super excited to kick off our journey with a very special guest, Kirk Buxton. Kirk is a CEO and founder of Kirk's Kefir, and his mission is simple: to keep everyone's gut healthy. His beverages are not only delicious but also they're HACCP certified. So join me with Kirk as we dive into conversation of kefir, HACCP compliance, and much more. Hi, Kirk. Welcome to the first episode of the Safe Table podcast. How are you today?
Well, thanks for having me on your show, Tanya. I'm excited to be the first guest on your show.
I am
Congratulations on the
thankful
launch.
to you actually because you said yes and it was the first episode, and no lot of time people don't say yes to the first episode. But thank you so much. I'm really grateful to have you. You know, one thing happened this morning. My husband actually asked me, how did you and Kirk met? Do you remember how we met?
When I was searching for somebody to help with the HACCP certification,
Right.
I think I met you on LinkedIn. Was it through
Yes.
LinkedIn? And I went to the community for some help because we were really struggling. The biggest challenge was for me was finding somebody that could communicate to me clearly all the things that had to happen step by step. And we had gone through a few people, and I was just finding it really challenging. And so, in like a Hail Mary, I just reached out to LinkedIn. Somebody helped me, and I think that's how we met, isn't it?
Right, that's true. Actually, it was October 2022. I still
Oh,
remember clearly because you were my second client. At that time, I didn't have my business great. I incorporated into December 2022. You posted on LinkedIn, I made a comment, and then we connected and discussed about HACCP. We did our first certification in 2023 and second in 2024. So it was an amazing experience to work with you. Before we connected, I was talking and I mentioned that Kirk's Kefir is not only a delicious beverage, good for gut health, but it's also HACCP certified. So I want to know from you, I want you know, tell me, share your journey and experience with Kirk's Kefir and what motivated you to enter into the market of fermented products, because it's not easy to work with fermentation.
so yeah, we started out as Kirk's Kefir, and the business is now Kirk's Probiotic Soda. So we made a name change recently, and to help communicate the message a lot easier. The motivation part, I think, in the beginning, really, I was just out to solve my own personal health gut issues. Like I had a problem bloating. Doctors, they gave me pills, and that didn't work. It didn't help the bloating, and I tried everything over the counter, everything I could find online, and then this is where water kefir came in to be like the answer and the solution. And it was interesting because I made it, and it immediately worked. It didn't have any special unique. I didn't use any special formula to make it at home. And then I was playing around, and I had a couple of people that were buying meals off me and said, "You want to try this?" And they immediately wanted to buy it, and I was like, "Sure." So the journey begins with that, and over time, it just starts to take on a life of its own, and it starts to say, "Hey, I'm a business. Let's really go after it." So. And when I realized, and the motivation part really comes with like, it's helping people. And I saw the benefit of other people, and I started to realize how many people actually had gut health issues. And there wasn't a whole lot of things in the market that were really helping these people. So, when you get to see how you help somebody, it's very rewarding personally, and it just kind of lights you up inside. And it's like, it became really easy to get up in the morning and start doing it. Just feel it inside me that it was the right thing to do.
It really helped me. Even when I'm not sure if you remember when we met, I had very bad skin acne problem, and I was consistently telling you that there is something wrong with my gut, and I'm sure that this is affecting my skin. And when you gave me that case of kefir, and I had it for I think for 2 weeks, it really helped me a lot. It helped me a lot with my gut health and with my skin issues as well.
Yeah,
So,
and
what is your favorite flavor?
my favorite flavor is, it's really interesting, and right now it's blue raz, and it was my least favorite. It's the most popular of our flavors, but right now I'm drinking it. I mean, like last year, just before this, it was apple lime ginger. Before that, it was lemon mango, and then in the beginning, I couldn't get enough watermelon lime. It's every year, every 6 months, something happens, and I crave the different. I can't explain it. So I'm on a blue raz kick with the rest of everybody else right now.
I remember whenever we always have conversation, anybody comes and we'll say, "What is your favorite flavor?" And you will say apple, I'm ginger. I'm like, okay, sure, why not? Mine was always blue raz, and still it is. It's one of the best flavors you got.
Thank you.
So, Kirk, you did not, as per my understanding, you do not have a food safety background, right?
No, I was
So,
really
what was
intimidated by this.
your previous education? That because working into fermented products, working with the bacterial culture, it's really difficult. And if you don't have microbiology or a food safety background or food science, so how did that work out for you exactly?
I just have just curiosity. I just got really curious about it. So I had no background. I have a little bit of knowledge around food safety because I had a meal prep business, but that was not nearly to the level of working with fermentation and microbes and understanding all the things that are going on. And I just got really curious and started trying different things and reading different articles and reaching out to different people. And yeah, just really self-educated around all of it.
Do you still keep yourself updated? Do you still read editions or any articles or any books about the fermentation or the culture that you are using in Kurt's Kefir?
Yeah, I do. I mean, I have a whole bunch of podcasts. I was looking through my audio books. I was looking through them, and I was like, well, I'm gonna read that. I'm gonna listen to that audio book again. And I'm always very fascinated by it and the evolution of it. And so I do read articles. I do read books. I do a lot of experimentation that I kind of do. I'm doing a whole bunch today, and I'm working on a host of new products and curiously how it all interacts with the body. And the more time I spend reading about it and studying about, probiotics and the body, all the microbes that we have, the more curious my mind gets and how I can see how really helps people who can create these wonderful products because we're essentially just we're just bugs. We're
Right.
just, we're just built with bugs.
So we can say that even if you don't have a background, it's not impossible to start something from scratch, learn, and make a mission of everyone's making gut healthy, like helping people. So you don't have a background, but still, if you want to address those challenges and work towards it, you can do it.
Yeah, exactly. Whatever you want to do, you just gotta get your mind into it and just go for it. I think there's a lot of people I meet which have no backgrounds in the things they're doing today, and they
Right.
never imagined their life. I'm pretty sure someone like Elon Musk doesn't have a background, in building rocket ships. That really
Yeah.
wasn't how he got into the things, but he's doing it.
Right. Beautiful. So, Kirk, in the beginning, you mentioned that, how we met. You were looking for some food safety consultants and you did work with few people before me. So, I want to know, working with food safety consultants, how did that help in your business? How did it help in the growth and development and getting you HACCP certified?
Yeah, it's a really good question. It really makes you look inside your business and all your procedures and everything you're doing, and it helps you look at your costs and connecting. This product's going to go to somebody. So, what are all the risks? And in doing it, there were certain things that by doing it so long and taking so much pride in how I do things, I was of the attitude, why am I doing all this, spending all this time and money because I take such great care in what I do. But then when I really looked at it from, the consumer's point of view or a health safety point of view, there are a few points in there where things could get dangerous if you don't. Like when we're working with ginger, like you can get mold if you don't handle it right in a finished product, and then that becomes an issue. And so I'm looking at the food safety side, it opens up a whole different side of your business and understanding it. And so when you're creating new products or making changes, like understand that that's going to be part of the process, and how do you implement it all together and then build a team around that. So it just kind of opened up the business side of things, new perspective.
Right. And one thing, Kirk, I want to mention that when I visit your facility first time, do you remember what I said? It was super clean. Like I have never seen any startup company, like any startup facility that clean. Everything was like well organized and cleaning was the main thing. Like sanitation is where I think a lot of companies struggle with. But the way you maintain your facility, that I knew, I'm like, okay, he's serious for HACCP certification. He really wants to get certified and make sure the consumers are having the safe product.
Yeah. And at the time, I was like, this place needs to be cleaner. Like, we got to do a better job. Always thinking about, like, how
Right.
do we do it better and get it cleaner? But thank you. And I didn't know what other people were doing, so I really appreciated that feedback because I wasn't visiting other people. I didn't know what was going on, and I'd heard from yourself and then other inspectors that our place was really clean. And I took a lot of pride in that because I really care about our product and then the finished product that consumers are getting.
Yeah, it's really important to definitely to keep your facility clean. So Kirk, you had the HACCP certification at the very beginning of your startup, right? I meet companies who are working from 5 years, 6 years, but they still don't get their facility certified. So getting your HACCP certification, how did that actually help Kirk's Kefir to grow in the industry, to grow in the market?
Yeah, well, in order to sell into certain retailers, you've got to have it. If you want to sell outside of Canada, it's pretty essential to have it. So, I mean, it opened doors and opportunities, and they said, "Do you have your HACCP certification? Please send it to us." So, if you want to work in the larger Loblaws, then you're going to need it. So, it opens doors. There is a cost to it. There's some time to it, and for everyone, it's going to be different in determining when and why. I'm always surprised when the companies, 3 to 5 years in, they don't have it. I think either they're just doing really, really great, or they just don't understand the opportunity that they're missing, maybe.
Right.
But yeah, so it opens doors. It really does.
Right. Great that you mentioned that. You mentioned something about the cost, right? So last month, I went to an event where I met a lot of people, like a lot of startup companies who want to get HACCP certified. But the only thing that was a cost, a budget, and they didn't have maybe a plan how to get it. And the cost of the audit is definitely, it's not cheaper to get HACCP certified. So how you as a startup company planned in the beginning, what are your strategies or any recommendations that you have? Okay, companies should do this to make sure that they can get the certification at early stage of their company.
Well, there are grants available to help support companies in getting that out the door. So, make sure you're looking for grants to going into it. My approach in the beginning was like, so this is what we're doing. And I didn't have like a budget laid out. It was like day to day, hour to hour. How are we going to get the money? So this is another expense, and it costs a lot more than you kind of think, because you're going to end up buying things that are specifically for that station. Make sure your equipment's all up to standards, and then the right documentation. So I say you just kind of get going down that road, do it piece by piece. If it might take you a little bit longer, maybe you don't get, maybe you want to get it in 90 days or 6 months, you want to do everything. Maybe it takes you a little bit longer and you stretch it out. Start putting the pieces in place so you can start doing the paperwork, which isn't going to take it's not going to be that expensive. And then for when it comes time for that to pay for the audit, well, there's that grant money there. Just make sure that you're kind of tracking for it, see what grants are coming. And people could reach out to you and say, hey, like, what's this going to cost? And I'm sure you can help them figure out the budget and some expenses. And it's not as expensive as some companies will think. And the other part of this is find a way. If you
Right.
really want it, you'll find a way.
Right. Now that's amazing. That's amazing. You said find a way. So you mentioned that about the grants. How did you securing a food safety grant helped in growth and development of your business?
Oh yeah, so they paid for equipment. The grants come in, they pay for a portion of the equipment, which is amazing because that's a big expense to a company when you're trying to grow. Never mind anything else, got to add these pieces of equipment. So when you're looking at the grants and stuff, say, okay, so how do we want to make our product really, really safe, and look at the grant and then write the grant according to that. They make it pretty straightforward and pretty simple. They're not that difficult to write. I've written all the grants myself, and I had no formal education. And then if you don't want to, then there's companies out there you can go and hire, and they'll actually find all these grants for you for a percentage. So then again, they'll take some of that money for their services, but then it takes a load off you even having to look. But there's a ton of resources available if people who want grants. You can just search it on the internet.
Right, that's true. I think we did the HACCP grant at the beginning of this year. Then now there's a traceability grant available by BC
Yeah.
government that a lot of companies can use. And also I remember that you help me with the grant, the marketing grant of that you can put. And I applied for that grant and I got it, and I used that to develop my website. And it really helped me a lot after that with the business. So I think you're right. Grants are something that helps a lot in the growth and development of the business. And if there is an option, if it's available, companies should be open to accept, like take it. And even if they can hire someone, if they can do it by themselves, that's great. If not, then they should definitely hire someone to get the grant done for them.
Yeah, essential. It's really helpful.
So you pitched this year on Dragon's Den, right? You gave an interview on Dragon's Den. So how was that experience? If you if you can please share about how was your experience, and yeah.
Yeah, the experience, it was fun. I mean, I was pretty excited, and for things, some things I often like for an interview like this, and I've done a lot of these, and for that I found I was pretty nervous and pretty wound up, and um, but I also, in going into that, I realized the one thing that because we didn't get the call, so I'm not going to be on there, but it was a real good learning experience in that, in telling the story. It's really, and then getting someone's attention, because that's a storytelling area. Just bring all the energy you can, be creative, tell a story, bring more props. Looking back, I really would have brought some more props into it and just literally showed them how I would spice it up on the stage. So, and again, when you leave that, you're like, okay, so what did I learn? So I didn't get to go on the showcase, so what did I learn? There's next year, and there's other opportunities. And since Dragon's Den, other doors have opened. So that one didn't open, but there's no other kinds of things happening. So it's just, and in terms of like me getting out and sharing the story more and more. So that kind of was like, that happened. And then a whole host of other things. Like, here we are doing your first show. So I love doing things knowing that no matter what happens, no matter what opportunity I'm coming at, it may not work out, but if it doesn't work out, then something else is coming. So let's just see what happens.
Right. No, definitely. But did you prepare something? Like, how did you prepare something for the Dragon's Den? Like, what things that you did? Any tips that you want to share that, okay, these are the things that everyone should consider if they're planning to go on Dragon's Den?
Yeah. So have a good story. Have some numbers ready. They're not going to get too deep into the numbers. Have your margins ready. Know what those are, and then also kind of explain to them, how it's going to be entertaining. So have a few dialed in that you're really, really prepared at. Understand your product, understand your margins, sales, where the growth is going to come from, what you need the money for, and give it your all. Go in there with a lot of enthusiasm, because that's what they're also looking for. So be fired up. Go over the top, because it's TV.
Yeah. Wow, amazing. Thank you, Kirk. Thank you for sharing. I want to know, so there are a lot of students who are going to watch this podcast, and I also teach HACCP course. So that's why I want this pod to be also for students who are watching you or watching other entrepreneurs or consultants that we are going to have. To what would you share your tips and your actions that if you are going to hire a quality assurance or HACCP person for your facility, what qualities would you look in that person?
Oh, so I look for somebody who is a great communicator. So the reason it worked out so well with you is because you were a great communicator and you had a lot of confidence. So when I had questions, you were able to give me clear, concise answers that weren't wishy-washy, which other ones were. So be a great communicator, have confidence in what they're doing, be well organized. Understand that as a business owner, I'm not the specialist in so I'm looking to you to guide me. This is what we need to do. This is what's really important. So this is what has to happen. Like, lay it out really simply, and understand that I don't have the knowledge. I think some people would come to me like I'm supposed to have all this. I didn't have the knowledge. So it was really confusing. So yeah, be confident. Understand that you're there to help people that don't know what you know. So when you show up, you really are the master and commander of that ship. And be conscientious and be curious too, and really understand the business that you're going to be working with, what they do, and what the priorities are. And I think those are the main things.
Right. Thank you. So, what are the important, is HACCP certification important for you? If you're hiring someone and you're looking at their resume, you have 5 resumes with HACCP, 5 without any HACCP experience, right? So, how important for you as a business owner that when you're hiring someone, do they have HACCP certification? Like, do you prefer someone having HACCP, or are you okay if they have a little bit of experience and that's it?
The number one things that I'm really looking for is someone teachable. So let's say someone comes in with lots of experience. That's great on a resume. Um, how are they going to work with the team? How are they going to work in here? So I think, there's going to be one person who really, with the HACCP, that can kind of guide the rest of the team and teach them along the way. Like every time someone comes in here, we have to show them, educate them on the things and the procedures that we do, do some training. So being teachable is really helpful and appreciating what we're doing. And for those that aren't teachable, it's really difficult if they think they have all the answers. There's really nowhere to go from there. So really look for attitude. Um, that's it. Like show up on time, have a great attitude, and we can make it work.
Right. Amazing. So it doesn't matter if you are making a product with fermentation, if the person you want to hire does have experience in fermentation or not, as long as they have right attitude, they're good in communication, and they want to work. Like they're
Yeah.
teachable, right?
Yeah. And that they're willing to know about HACCP. Are they going to be curious about it?
Right.
Yeah.
So one more thing, last question is about consumer education. So in Kirk's Kefir business model, how important is consumer education for the safe handling of Kirk's Kefir?
So you mean do we want like so that our consumers understand that we do this under a safe and controlled manner?
Right. So, do you use any measures or any strategies in your business model to educate your consumers about the safe handling and consumption? I noticed that on the Kirk's Kefir bottle, it says that keep it in the refrigerator, right? Don't roll. So I read that label. So
Yeah.
what other measures do you use to educate your consumers about your product?
Yeah, that's a really good question. And other than that, we don't do a whole lot. So getting that message isn't terms something that we've really done a whole lot on like social media or anything. And the interaction of that will become like demos, in-store demos, when you can have a chance, with our demo people or if I'm doing because they understand that, make sure we educate them around what we're doing and they've been here so they see. So then they get an idea, and that's where you get time to really communicate with the consumer, and then word of mouth, and really just how we, and a big part of that is like how we carry those with our product, you know, from one person to another. They share the story, and so no, there isn't a whole lot done, but that's a really good question because we spend so much time on wanting to educate the consumer about how we can relieve their bloating, heartburn, and constipation because we want them to buy our product. We also want them to know that we produce it in a safe way. So, in part in having this certification speaks volumes to that. And we hope the consumer, and maybe they don't know this, but in certain retailers that they buy from, those products are certified. So, but to really answer your question, to be honest, like we haven't put a lot of time and energy into educating about how safe we make, how safe we are about the process.
Your social media, right? That is something I think you have used beautifully to educate your customers. TikTok, Instagram, I've always seen your videos. And especially when you're talking about the benefit of the kefir, that is something I think you have used very beautifully for guiding your consumers.
Thank you.
So, what store your product is available? If
Yeah.
anybody who doesn't know about Kirk Kefir, they're living in BC and they want to go and grab. So, which store your product is available?
And so, yeah, I mean, on our website, we have a list of stores. So we're available all over Vancouver Island and like, Whole Foods, Loblaw stores, Save-On Foods, Quality Foods on the island, Red Barn. Like there's a host of stores. So our website at www.kirksprobioticsoda.com is the best resource. And if that doesn't help, somebody can always like contact me directly, usually social media, hey, I'm here, where can I find your product? But we're in most of the major retailers. There's a few that we're not in. But we're available all over BC in different areas. Um, I think the largest reach of the Superstore would have the largest reach for us from that and Pattison Group, so the Save-Ons and the Urban Fairs. are across from all over Vancouver Island, up the Kamloops.
Wow,
So
amazing.
yeah.
Amazing. Are you planning to launch any new flavors soon?
Yeah, so I have new products. So we actually just launched our shots. We just launched a raw probiotic soda, so it's unflavored, natural,
Wow.
tastes really great. And today, yeah, I'm just down here creating some new flavors right now. So there's a bunch of new products coming out and some different flavors and things that are really geared towards more of a North American presence.
Thank you so much, Kirk. That was all. And thank you so much for your time. And I really appreciate it. And I'm sorry, I was a little nervous. It was my first episode.
Thanks. Yeah, you actually did really good. You did a great job. So thanks for having me on here. I'm honored to be the first guest on your show. Thanks.
And that's a wrap for today's episode of the Safe Table podcast. Stay tuned for more insightful conversations. Please share, like, and hit that subscribe button if you haven't yet. Your support means world to us. Until then, bon appetit!